Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday's stream. Hope we're all having a good one. Seems like no time at all has passed since the last stream. Although it has only been 3 days, to be fair. So, what have I been up to? Let's have a look. So, mostly, I've been working on the Galaxy system and just polishing and refining and basically kind of honing the edges of the things I was working on the last stream. So, I suppose if we go for it step by step, nothing's changed here. This is just the usual event graph stuff we had before. The monster macro is this one, where we regenerate the sectors. So, since the last stream, I've moved all this logic onto here and just deleted a load of fluff that wasn't needed. So, the entire sector code has been condensed to this. And all we're doing here is we're just stepping through and incrementing the sector coordinates by 1 or -1 to create our 3x3x3 grid. That's our 27 sectors around the ship. And then once we have those coordinates, and that's essentially the midpoint of each sector, we generate a sector ID. And this was previously called the sector coordinates, and that was starting to get really confusing with the actual coordinates of where the ship is. So I've gone ahead and renamed it sector ID, just to kind of differentiate those a little bit. So we use that to identify whether or not it's a special sector. Generally speaking, it won't be. So this is where all the changes have happened. So this used to be quite unwieldy. In fact, if we look at the Sol sector, it kind of looked like this, and you had a lot of stuff going on, which was working, but nowhere near as efficiently as it should have been. So I've gone ahead and just completely redone that. We've got a simple macro for generating seeds. Nothing exciting there really. It just appends the coordinates into a string and adds an optional affix before generating a hash. And then we generate a seed for each of the object classes in that sector. And you'll see that I've gone ahead and I've added the neutron stars, white dwarfs, T-Tauri, Wolf-Rayet and such, including rogue planets. They're not actually in game yet, but we've started generating data for them. So that's kind of the first step in adding those objects to the galaxy. And what I've done, you notice I've got step 1 here. I've converted the whole thing to more of a sort of a step-by-step process when generating each sector, again to make it more efficient and easier to follow. So step 1 is generate all the seeds, 1 for each object class. Step 2 is we determine what area of the galaxy we're actually in, and that's what all this is. So if it's the galactic core, it's quite simple. Are we at 000, or rather is the sector ID 000, in which case yes, we are the galactic core. And then it starts measuring distances. So that's if we're within 8,000 light years of the core, then we're still in the central bulge area. If we're in 10,000 light years, that's within the bulge edge. And then we move on into the arms and the thick disk, etc, etc. This one's a little bit more complicated because we're actually taking the pixel value from our 2D galaxy map, and if the pixel value is over 0.4, we consider it to be a spiral arm, otherwise it's an inter-arm region. And then if it's over 0.5, we decide to add open cluster, or just randomly across the board, we can have an open cluster anywhere in the spiral or inter-arm regions, because you still do get star formation in the inter-arm regions, just nowhere near as much. So we weren't catering for that before, but we now are. So all that does, it basically just sets an integer value, and then we use this to determine what part of the galaxy we are in. Step 3, we calculate the stellar density for that region. So now that we've generated the sector type, we then use that to generate the amount of clutter there is in that sector area. So this time we're switching on which type of sector it is, and then like before we're just running some logic to determine what the density of stellar objects is in that particular sector. And each sector type treats that slightly differently. We're using the 2D image to determine the X and the Y density, and then we're offsetting that vertically by just measuring the Z distance to the galactic plane. That's quite straightforward, really. One big change is the galactic halo now extends out to 326,000 light years. Before it was about 170,000 light years. So this should encompass the full kind of scientifically acknowledged extent of the galactic halo, which we can now do because we're generating seeds with a hash. And just randomly, because we can now generate things in intergalactic space, there is a 0.01% chance of a star or something appearing in intergalactic space, because as much as it is empty, it's not completely empty. And then we do the same thing again on a per class basis. So we know how many stars there are in that galactic sector, so now we need to work out how many of each class of star. And again, we've got our white dwarfs and Wolf-Rayet and T-Tauri. Again, it's not actually generating them, but we now actually are generating the data for them. So that's the first step, so adding them into the game. It seems like a lot going on here, but really there's not a huge amount. If we go to one of the more complicated ones, let's go for like a G class. So you can see all we're doing is we're just going through the different regions of the galaxy, and then we're taking our overall stellar density for that region. So let's say there's a stellar density of 4,000 objects in a spiral arm. We then multiply that by a percentage. So G class, we're saying that there's about 7.6%. So 7.6% of that overall stellar population is going to be a G class star within the spiral arms, or the thin disk region. And we use that same process across the board. So, intergalactic space, it's always going to be 0. You won't find G-class stars out there between the galaxies. And these are obviously tweakable numbers. Every time we tweak them, that does obviously change how many objects the galaxy generates of each type. So there's going to be a little bit of a bedding in period with this. I notice with the black holes in particular, where are they? Black holes. In the spiral arm regions, we're randomly generating between 0 and 3. And that seems to be generating more than would be reasonable. So I'm going to drop that down to between 0 and 2. Save that while I remember. Anasi, no, we don't have the white dwarf assets yet. And so for the most part, the Wolf-Rayet stars, the T-Tauri and the white dwarfs, the assets are going to be very, very similar to the existing stars. They just need just different scalings and different brightnesses. The neutron stars are going to be more effort because they need things like the neutron jets and stuff. But we will get round to it. So that was step 4. Step 5 is the political state that we worked on last time. That is really rudimentary. That needs expanding significantly. And then finally, step 6 is we actually implement the stars themselves. So you can see here we've got the nebula, the black holes, and all the main sequence stars. So once we have the actual actor asset for the other star types, so these guys here, the T-Tauris and such, then we'll be adding those here to this list. So really that was just a quick and dirty overview of how we are building the galaxy and how the different objects and classes are distributed across the galactic space. The most important thing is that we are using this. So this is our map of the galaxy, and again we're sampling these pixel values. So this goes from 1 to 0, and it's roughly about 0.3 to 0.5 in the ARM regions, and it drops down to about 0.1, 0.2 in the inter-ARM regions, and then that's just a solid 1 around the galactic core. So that'll give us our maximum stellar density. So there we go. That is how we are generating the galaxy. So now that we've got this separated out into a nice, clean, easy, modular, step-by-step process, it's going to make managing and expanding the galaxy a hell of a lot easier compared to what it was before. I mean, the previous version of the galaxy is like 2 years old now, so it really needed some modernization. And again, because each class of object is generated in isolation, it means we can add additional classes of object without affecting any of the previous ones. So we don't need to do any galaxy resets when we add new stuff, which is the important thing. So it's something I needed to fix, because I noticed that all the real world stars are back and in the correct place. List here, this one. So here we are, they're all in there where they should be. And there's more now. I think there was like 1,600 or 1,300 before, and it's now up to 2,070. The reason there were more is because last time I was measuring 50 light years from Sol, and that was just giving us a perfect sphere of stars. But this time I actually went with the coordinates instead and did it a little bit more intelligently. So it caters for the corners of the cubes, not just a straight 50 light year sphere. So all those corners of those 27 cubes, obviously, that's the additional volume of stars that we didn't have before. Yes, Alan, that's exactly what I'm going to go and fix now, in fact, because I noticed that even though Sol is in the correct place, it's still for some reason recording the planets not in the correct place. So I just need to go and work out why. I think I know why. I just need to double check it. So the next thing on my really have to fix it list is this monstrosity. So this is the code that generates the actual star systems themselves. And as you can see, it's a bit of a monster. And all of this really could do with being condensed into macros. But we work out the distances, we build our base planet types, then we work out the mass of the planet, and then we work out all the mantle and the crust densities and things, and the whole overall planet density, and then its volume, which we then derive the radius, and then we work out the gravity because we know the density, etc., 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 etc. And then we apply all the atmospherics and finally construct the actual planet objects themselves. So again, this works, it's fine, but it's unwieldy and it's difficult to manage and it's difficult to expand upon. So like with this, where it's now very tidy and very easy to manage, I will be doing the same with this, which is a necessary prerequisite anyway, because when we start adding all the life and everything to these systems, there's going to be a lot more going on here to work out the type of life and the environment that life lives in and all those sorts of things. So this needs to cater for all of that as well. But the important one here is the Sol system. So with the manually created systems, we don't need to work anything out. All we're doing really is just filling in the data, which is what all of this is. And yes, I am going to convert this to a data table, so I don't need to be doing this every time I add a custom system. This, again, is absolute lunacy. So the galactic coordinates for Sol is set to the old value, and that is why everything is not where it should be. That's just the default for that variable, and I'm assuming that that's what is being picked up every single step along the way. Yeah, looks like. Just give this a quick test, make sure that has indeed fixed that problem. Glad to hear that, Alan. Yes, I'm excited about this as well. Working on the galaxy is very much my happy place. So being able to get my teeth stuck into the galactic and the astrophysics stuff is just, that's where I like to be. Anasi. So yeah, class 4 and class 5 gas giants are definitely spawning. They're definitely there. I'll see if I can find one in a sec. Right, so Earth is where we expect it to be. This lot are where we expect them to be. They look good. So we do still have the problem where things are doubling up on the sensors list. That's another fun thing I need to go and fix. Right, so if we go to our medium range sensors then, and then we send that to the helm, Mars should be 2.32 AU. Just make sure that we actually do get there and it is in the right place and all that stuff. The autopilot takes us there. Let's just see if we can find any other types of gas giant. Those window frames really are quite annoying, aren't they? Oh, I panicked then. I thought, why does Mars not have a texture? But it was just unreal. Right. Yeah, so the Sol system is back to normal. It's all working. Gary, and yes, there will be. So, like with the short range here. So obviously we've got Mars. Very little on this sensor mode right now, but when it's fleshed out, you'll have different overlays, so you can see things on the planet like biomes and atmospheric data. And I really want to be able to do a cutaway of the planet, so you can see like the core of the planet exposed, like one of those traditional, cutaway look at the planet's core kind of diagrams. No, the filters do not work yet. Why does the ship make a whomp noise when it stops but not when it starts? That's just the noise that it does. There's actually a much more extended version of the audio that Jose, our audio guy, made, and I just took the kind of abridged version of it just to use as a placeholder, so we've got some sound for the FTL. But the full audio will have things like gas being released and charging up and cooling down noises. Of course, I can't actually see from a long distance what those gas giants are, but I can cheat. Actually, yeah. Still can't tell because I haven't got all that data on there yet. Good shout, Aaron, thank you. Yeah, so that's a class 1. Which one we clicked on now? Also a class 1. Yeah, we'll be here all night if I go around looking for one. Wrong way. Yeah, audio is something we're going to be focusing on quite a lot. Yeah, I mean, again, the audio in Elite, of course, is absolutely amazing. I think the audioscape that Elite has is one of the best things about it. It's really, really immersive. And Jose, our audio guy, is actually the ex-audio lead for Elite Dangerous. He was working on Elite back before Horizons, I think it was. So he definitely knows his stuff. And I haven't given him freedom to just go wild on the project yet. And to be fair, we haven't got a lot of things yet that need audio, not properly anyway. So he's waiting in the wings to be able to get on with that. So the other thing I wanted to just check real quick actually is, let's go to Sag A. And this is now accurately Sag A as well, at least it should be. It's going to be having to generate a lot of stars Yeah, the ship actually already does have a background hum. It's quite subtle, but it's the HVAC system. The demo on Steam will be updated essentially as and when major systems are finished and polished. So right now we're working on the external model for the ship. Wow, it's not liking that. And the new sensors system. Once those two things are sort of release worthy, then the demo will be updated. And, I think I found Sag A. I think we're inside Sag A. Escape the black hole. I don't even know what direction I'm facing. Oh, is that a star over there? Oh no, that's the black hole. Okay, let's fly away from that. There we go, we escaped. That's interesting, you can see some generation lines on the sectors. Wow, that really is generating a monstrous amount of stars. So those lines that you can see, those are because the sector boundaries are 49 light years in the center of the galaxy, but 50 light years once you're away from the central sector. So the game is generating to a radius of 49 light years, so it's creating this overlap at the borders. So I just need to remove that 1 light year overlap and that will get rid of that line. That's mad though, that is a lot of stars. If I turn off... so that's without the static background stars. I mean, if I was to turn them on, you can't even like see the difference. So apparently the actual galactic core, the density there is several stars per light year. It's crazy dense. I wonder how many stars it's actually generating here. I mean, that is all kinds of crazy. Oh, it's locked up again. Let's give it a minute while it works itself out. Wow. That'll be why it was lagging. Why on earth is it generating this many objects? That's just lunacy. Dare I click that? I dared. Perhaps I shouldn't have dared. I have faith. Come on. You can do it. I think I may have made a boo-boo there somewhere. Oh, there we go. Okay then. That's just begging to be zoomed out, isn't it? Oh wow. Okay, just like one mouse click has frozen it up. Oh, hang on. There we go. It's doing it. Well, that's just silly. Well, in the immortal words of Let's Game It Out, is there a limit? Yeah, this is at Sat J. So I think it's fair to say the game struggles to have this many stars. Although, to be fair, this is within the editor, and things are generally laggier in the editor, although there's no way it will handle this build either. That kind of looks like the Death Star. Yeah, the reason this is lagging so horribly, when at least while it's generating, once it's done the generation, it's fine. It's because it has to sort all of these stars by distance to the ship. Because in order to draw this list in order of distance, we obviously need to know how far away each star is. So what it does is it takes the array containing all of the stars. It's already pre-calculated the distance, so we already have that, and then it has to sort on that float value and then rebuild the array. And an array sort when you've got 100,000 stars is quite intensive on the CPU. But I'm getting 60 FPS. If I look that way, I'm getting 80 FPS. So it can handle it absolutely fine. It's literally just the generation that's struggling. Let's go further. Now the duplication glitch is just a display error, so that won't be affecting the the actual ordering of things. Wow, that's just getting crazy. Yeah, now we're talking. That is a lot of stars. Okay. Excuse all the clattering, that's just Claire on her way through. The lines you're seeing here is because the galactic grid has a resolution of 1 light year. So all of these stars are aligned to a 1 light year grid. So you're seeing the gaps in the grid. Normally, you don't notice that because you don't have the stars this close together. But, you know, like when it's like this, then you can really easily see the fact it's a grid. But yeah, but that's why there are so many stars out the window, and that's why you can see the grid here as well. I'm impressed though. I mean, it's, aside from the generation, it's perfectly fine. I mean, there's a bit of a slowdown there, but then we are rendering probably in excess of 200,000 stars, so that's not bad. Nonetheless broken, so let's try and work out why. Fortunately, we have a lovely stepped approach now. I'm assuming it was picking up the right region. I'll have to double check, but it should have been. So let's just check our densities. So galactic core, essentially we're doing 8,000 stars times the RGB value on there. I should check really that's reporting a value of 1, because otherwise if it's anything greater than 1, then it's a hell of a lot more than 8,000 stars. I'll come back to that if it's needed. Yeah, so there should be no more than 8,000 stars, which is a lot less than there would be in the real world. In the real world, you're looking at more 2 million stars in the galactic core. But that's, you know, you've seen what it was like with a couple of 100,000. There's no way the game could handle that many stars. Literally multiple stars per light year. It's crazy. So now, unless I'm misremembering that, I'm sure it said that there were like 9,000 black holes and 9,000 B class. So we're simply stating here in the galactic core there should be around about 14 black holes. So this is the local integer in the macro. And we're assigning a value of 14 to this local integer. And then that's what we're pulling out of this. So there should have been no more than 14 black holes. And we're definitely setting that. Are we definitely using that? Yes, we are. And then we're definitely limiting this. Yeah, there's nothing amiss there. Peter Street, the stars are a mix of both procedural and real world. So right now the 100 light year cube surrounding Sol is all real world stars, and everything else beyond that is procedural. But that cube will expand over time. So on the Hipparchos spreadsheet, I've got something like 16,000 stars. But I'm working with someone at the moment who's managed to do a script for pulling data off the Gaia dataset, and that's pulled about 700 gigs worth of stars. Obviously, we're not going to put 700 gigs worth of stars in the game because that would be madness. I think we'll probably start with a radius of 2,000 light years for real world stars, and then go from there and see what the footprint size of that is like. I mean, I don't mind so much shipping the game with maybe 5 to 10 gigs of real world stars. I think anything more than that is kind of, you know, pushing reason. Yeah, you're not wrong. 700 gigs is probably like typical AAA game these days. Yes, it's the same as the way Elite does it. Just making sure that this loop's actually properly capping, which it is. B class, where are you? There. So definitely setting that, Oh, wait, I know what's happening. The penny has just dropped. It's because none of this matters, because the Sag A sector is a custom sector, and that looks like this still. So that was all being ignored, which means we were passing virtually an infinite amount. It's interesting, actually, where you would have thought that loop would stop at 1. Huh. It's interesting. If we're feeding 0 into this loop, why did it go to 9,000? That's weird. Too many tabs. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep that. This is just the object for Sag A itself. and then I'm going to delete everything else. All of this is better. Just replace the missing variables. There's probably a quicker way of doing this, but I don't know what that is, so I'm doing it manually. Should be all of that. And then the last thing to do is just extend that over if I can get hold of it. Let's move that out of the way. Pop this one in. Right. So what this will now do is it will generate Sag A as we want it to, and all the procedural systems as well. And this time it's going to obey the rules properly. Let's give that a whirl and see. Yeah, the culture series is what people keep recommending to me as well, and I don't really have a lot of time for reading these days. I'm literally deving 24/7, so I just don't have the free time. Right, let's try it again. Fingers crossed. That was quicker. Still inside the black hole, but that's fine. Yeah, that command does work in the dev build right now. Normally it's tied to a staff account, but I can't access the staff account from within the editor, so I've just got the checks turned off. So feel free to play with it while it's there. It won't be staying though. Does, yeah. This one is this is one of our original black holes, which is why it's 2D, not 3D. Well, technically it's 3D, but it's a flat texture. You get down closer to it and you can see. Yes, this is Sag A star. Yeah, eventually the black holes will have a pull on the ship, and FTL will be mass aware. So large gravity wells like this will slow down the FTL. So they will come a point where even at maximum FTL, you will not be able to escape from the black hole. Although right now you can fly into it, grazing the event horizon. If your ship is ever destroyed, then essentially that's a game over scenario. You would have to launch a new mission from Earth with a fresh ship and a fresh crew. I'm not sure why why there's a glare in the middle. No, there shouldn't be really. I'll fix that when I make it volumetric. Yeah, imagine just sitting here with a drink staring at that. That'd be so cool. Yeah, yes it will. So over here we've got some lighting control. So we turn off the lights in the lounge. There will also be window controls and all sorts behind here. Yep, so the black holes only lens themselves at the moment, and the reason for that is to lens anything around them, we need to do a scene capture, and doing a scene capture in real time is quite costly. In fact, it's very costly on the CPU. So I want to implement some kind of a post-process effect for it instead. You know, here's a question. How big can the volumetric black holes be? Because the reason that I haven't gone ahead and replaced Sag A, one being time, and two because I've been unsure as to how big I could make the procedural, the volumetric ones. Why don't we find out? So obviously Sag A is a separate actor to the normal black holes. So the normal black holes look like, is this the old ones? Oh, it's the old ones. Hang on, that's the wrong one as well. Oh yeah, check. There we go. So they're a bit huge. All right, why aren't you showing me the file? Hang on. That's what I was looking for. So it is emissive vortex post-process. An easier way of doing this. So what I do want to do is create a material instance of this. So here's our generic settings for our black hole. If we get rid of the background, don't think we can get rid of the central sphere. No. But this is our volumetric material for the black hole. So if we were to create Sag A, then obviously it needs to be the biggest, baddest, most impressive black hole in the galaxy. So we can make it a bit thicker, make it a bit huger. A lot of the settings on this are all linked together, so you change one thing and it messes everything else up. So it's a bit of a balancing act. Let's turn that background on again. I thought that was happening. So we've got ourselves a extremely black hole. We don't want that. We want it to be all lit up. So essentially, if we make it elliptical, it gives it pointier edges. But that does mess up the coloration. I recall having a problem with that last time, which is why I never bothered using it. something else we could do is we could actually give Sag A its own custom volumetric shape, which would be interesting. I've got a few different ones we could use. I have to pick through those and find the right one, because some of them work really well and others you have a really horrible tiling pattern, which we don't want. Nothing worse than tiling. You want Sag A to be quite spinny. Yeah, it's quite plain from that angle. It's we can give it a different colour. Thinking it needs to be something like the one from Interstellar. I want to rough up these edges a little bit. It's a bit too symmetrical. Quite a wide lensing effect, given that it's a supermassive black hole. Yeah, there won't be any time dilation effects with it. adding any kind of time dilation is going to be very, very complicated for the game. It's yeah, it's not something that we're really set up for. And get rid of the green tinge around the outside. You don't want a green. Well, that's weird. You don't want that. I like the definition there. Trying to get that sort of fiery look underneath. That's quite nice. Yeah, so the colours are both just emissive black body radiation. Obviously, matter moving at practically relativistic speeds is going to be very, very hot. And then you just got the diffusion through the dust. Yeah, eventually the ship will take damage the closer you get to the event horizon. The tidal shearing in this area would be extreme. Have a good one. Thanks for watching the stream. Make that a smidge taller. I would have thought spaghettification was guaranteed, probably before you get even close to the event horizon. Oh, not seeing any lag there. Slow it down a bit though. Not slow. As cool as that looks, that's mental. You definitely want Sag A to be like bright when you're looking at it, because it's a massive radiation source, but sort of not game-breakingly bright. Yeah, it definitely needs to look scary. Like, maybe not that scary, because that's gonna break everything. Like, that scary, certainly. I'm not sure that we've got any quasars in the Milky Way, do we? If we do, then yes, we'll add them, for sure. Yeah, so we're definitely only adding things which definitely exist in the Milky Way. Now, I think that might be just the right amount of scary. Okay then, so if we call that Sag A, let's see if we can get it spawned as such. So on our where are we? So if we make Sag A its own particular class, then we can change this to Sag A. It's huge. There we go. That's more reasonable. Although this is randomizing them, and we don't want random black holes, we want the real deal. I do love these, like, little ones. Right, so we don't want you making random ones. We want you to make Sag A specifically. Let's skip that. We know what colour the light's going to be. Basically white. Right, there we go. There's Sag A properly. Okay, Jim, thanks for watching. It's nice because this makes Sag A unique in the universe. It's not connected to the procedural system, so there are no other black holes even remotely like this one. But the big question is, how big can it be? Because the real Sag A is about, I think it's about 2-3 AU in diameter. It's massive. So let's start making it big. We've only been dealing with stellar mass black holes. Okay, that's 1 kilometer. It's 100 kilometers. Still works. Okay, it's 1,000 kilometers. It's 10,000 kilometers. 100,000 and 1,000,000. Okay, so this object is now 2 million kilometers wide, and it's fine. So I think we're good to go with that. There's a little bit of clipping with the mesh. I need to make the mesh a little bit bigger. References. Rid of some of the clipping. What's happening there is that the actual event horizon is huge compared to the mesh, and for some reason it's not making it any bigger. Lost the event horizon completely there. Okay. Thank you, Astronomy Live. I'll see if I can stick that in there. So. Let's give that a whirl and see. So that's 1 million. Let's stick it over there. That would be 46 million. Still good. It's kind of mad that this object is 46 million kilometers in radius, like 1-to-1 within the engine. Testament to Unreal's large world coordinates doing their thing. So what we'll do then is on the Sag A actor itself, because we have the data for that, so we will take the black hole radius, we will make that 46 million, a nice normal number. Rid of that a sec. So when we generate that object, so our location type is black hole, and specifically. So we want Sag A volumetric. Yeah, I had it set to what was that, 51.8 million? Yeah. Ben, the large world coordinates extend for almost about a light year, so it can be big. Rodney, do you mean the demo update or the next dev update? Because the next dev update will be after this stream. Okay, so the demo will be updated essentially as soon as the sensors and Galaxy stuff is all polished and working smoothly. I'm not sure exactly when that's going to be. Essentially, it's it's progressing on a daily basis, so it's just as soon as it's done, the demo will get updated. Being inside this. The next thing on the to-do list after the demo update is going to be sublight engines, sublight flight, the ability to collide with objects in space, and full controller support, so HOTAS support and that sort of thing. Yeah, it really didn't like being inside the black hole. Something's not quite normal there. So I would hazard a guess that something has gone very wrong with the scaling on that. It's crazy though that we could be like 4 AU away from it and it's still that big. I think I see what's happening. So, yeah, we've definitely got the right one there. Making sure that it's not doing anything weird. This is just all the light stuff. Oh, this needs changing though. So that would be centimeters. So hang on, let me just do a conversion on that. So we want 48 million kilometers in centimeters. Sorry for the retina burn. Yes, one Unreal unit is 1 centimeter, so this fades the roar of the black hole over that distance. Thanks, Kev. Have a good one. That's a good idea, Kit. I will do that. So we will go 1 unit away. No, that's not going to help, is it? No, we need to go 100 units away. Not that many. Actually, no, 50 should do it, shouldn't it? Because we just want to be in the next. No, actually, no, it's just 1, isn't it? I'm thinking sectors. We don't need to be a whole sector away. Weird. There we go. Wow, that is close. I don't want to be that close. Abort, abort. Quite literally swallowed by a black hole. Yeah, in that scenario, I literally entered 000 on the local coordinates, so it wanted to put me literally right inside it. But when we do the sublight flight update, we'll hopefully have at least planetary awareness on FTL, so it will drop you out of FTL if you get too close to an object. It's a good question. I don't know. One of the problems we have with using a post-process effect for the black hole is that it renders on top of the warp effect. There's some transparency layering issues there which I need to fix. It looks a bit weird. This is one massive black hole. Don't worry, Bricktown Media, it's perfectly normal. I mean, that is 13 AU away. That's like the distance between the Sun and Jupiter. Let's turn off. It's nice having a bit of color variation, to be honest, because the procedural ones don't have quite the same spectrum of color. Might need to do something about that. Yeah, so we're traveling at almost 15 times the speed of light, and it's not moving in the sky. I think it's fair to say that is a big black hole. Yeah, if only I could get the post-process to render behind it, that would be perfect. Yeah, Silux. It's because the black hole is actually a post-process effect, and the warp effect is just a texture on an object, which is around the ship. I need to work out how to get the black hole to always render at the very back of every transparency. It needs to be in the transparency layers. It always has to be the very back layer. Yeah, I like that it's got that kind of blues and the reds blending together. The actual event horizon is still too small, so I will fix that. But yeah, I think that'll do nicely for Sag A. One last look out the back window. I parked the ship in a really poor position there. I will put this out as a build after the stream, so you'll be able to go and have a poke around. The magic teleport command will work on the dev build, so you can use that. Just a note on how that actually works. So if you type /spore drive into the chat, it will use whatever your current nav target is and just teleport you straight there. Yeah, I called it that as a joke, and I haven't got around to renaming it. I will rename it to ship teleport, but it could be spore drive for now. Right, so Sag A is fixed. So that's working, the Sol sector is working. Yeah, so I think we're good galaxy-wise. I think everything's back to what it was and shifted appropriately to where it should be. Brian, yeah, so in GM mode, you'll have access to the teleport command to move the ship around. Generally speaking, you won't be able to unless you're in GM mode. Right, so I wanted to make a couple of small refinements to the A and B class stars. I noticed they were a little bit too consistent, so in the spiral arms, let's 0.125% of whatever the stellar density is. But that's a lot less than what the Sol sector has just generally. So I don't think that number is quite right. So I think I'm going to up that to 2.5 instead of 1.25. Then, because we do have our random stream prepared, we will do random int in range from stream. Then we multiply that by a random number. So if we go from maybe 0.75, oops, it has to be a float, doesn't it? Random float in range from stream. So 0.75 to 1.25. It just gives us a little bit more random variation. So even though we do have a determined stellar density, I noticed that you were practically getting 4 B-class stars in every spiral arm sector, like consistently, and that's just not realistic. So if we do a bit of a dice roll on that, that will help sort of even that out a little bit. Faux flame, yeah, I think you're right actually. I will double check that one. Thank you, Cancro, I appreciate it. Enjoy your commute home. Hope it's not too arduous. I'm going to do the same random variation on the A-class stars as well. To be honest, I shall do it on the open cluster as well. Same with this one. Yeah, the galaxy is a dynamic place, so having the same volume of stellar object kind of cropping up consistently is just not very realistic. Just going to check how that looks. Right, so in the Sol sector, now this is obviously, these are real world stars. So we've got 13 B class and 49 A class. So we should expect to see a similar number in other spiral arms sectors. So we just so 6 and 20, 7 and 16, 19, 2. Realised actually it's not showing the numbers of the other classes. Why might that be? So he wants that. So we're doing our sector ID, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's all good. So feeding that through to the right place. It's just our coordinates. So I'm assuming then that that's purely down to the fact that we are doing a distance check, and that, are we setting that? Oh, that's the local midpoint, so we're doing... Right, yes, yeah, so we're not setting this, so that's what it's checking against. So we need to set that on there. Oh, you definitely can. I am literally the worst when it comes to tabs. And the same with Chrome or anything. Every time I want something new, I open a new tab. Every time. It's ridiculous. And sometimes I'll have like 4 or 5 copies of Chrome open, and each of them will have like 50 tabs open. Claire's always complaining at me for it. Mark Lewis, there is a free demo on Steam right now. So there's the real world objects, and that. Right, that's better. Okay, so this is good. So you can see here that as we go into an inter-arm region, the A and B class numbers start dropping off. So if we go back into the spiral arm, you can see that we've got 9 B class, 24 A class, 102 F class. And then as we transition out of the spiral arm and into the inter-arm, you can see that those numbers have dropped right off, which means that our galactic region awareness code is working. And those numbers should creep back up again as we go into the spiral arm. Tell you what's not working though. It's it's struggling a bit with the brightness of these pixels. So here, it's calling this an inter-arm region. And I think it's because this pixel's not bright enough. So those ones are. So I just need to raise the pixel value slightly on there. Right now we don't have a Linux developer. If we have one, then we will be able to release natively on Linux. We don't right now though. Other platforms are likely something we're going to address once we're in early access. So once we've got all the early access work done and we've got a polished alpha product under our belts, then we'll start looking at other platforms. Good work, Mr. Byan. It will be, well, as soon as I'm off stream, I will start the building. It usually takes about half an hour to jump through all the hoops. Where are we? Right, so calculate sector regions. So on here, so we're saying if it's higher than 0.4, then we are in 3, so that's a spiral arm. So let's just change that to 0.3 and then to 0.4. Iron Wolf, yeah, definitely. So one of the reasons we went with touch screens just across the board for now is to make it easy to implement VR. It's much easier just to stick an interaction component on a finger so you can jab at a screen than to do physics interactions with levers and things. But yes, so there will be a combination of touch screens and physical controls at some point. Not tonight's build, no, kids. So tonight's build is essentially all the new optimizations for the Galaxy and the new Sag-A model. Just need to make sure that it's correctly identifying the regions for the spiral arms. There won't be a holodeck on this ship or anything like it, because hologram technology, certainly with the human race as it is in 2261, yes, we've got holo displays, but they're not solid. You can just walk through them. They're hugely power-hungry devices. As we meet other alien races, perhaps we'll get some tech from them that would make that different. So we'll see how that progresses with future ships. Okay, that's good. It likes that. It was this bit down here it struggled with. Oh, that's much better. Let's zoom in a bit. Yeah, I think I could probably get away with just maybe 0.35, because I don't really want it to be interarm, so we're over here. Uh, 0.25 rather. That 1.3. Maybe make that 1.35. Let's give that a whirl. I have a Razor Naga Hex, and I think my one complaint with Razor mice is I've always had the middle mouse button fell on them. This one's not too bad, it seems to have lasted, but I had the 12 button Naga, what that was called now, the MMO version, and the middle mouse button went on that one. And I had a similar one afterwards, and the middle mouse button went on that as well. But the Naga Hex seems to be lasting my abuse. Bricktown, the ship will have 3D printers, so the 3D printers themselves will require resources, but objects that you 3D print will have a sort of an atomic recipe, so it'll be something like 27% iron, 40% titanium, and you need to have those materials in the bins sort of waiting to be used, and you get those materials via mining. The food uses organic 3D printers, and the things you grow in the hydroponics are what you put into the replicators, or the 3D printers rather, for sort of raw food stock, the organic bulk. Yeah, this is pretty decent, I think. It's hitting the spiral arm right on the edge. Yep, I'm happy with that. I'm gonna just try teleporting away a bit. Just target soul. So actually, not even that. Let's target Earth. He's got some decent distance from the star then. If we go to maybe 500, so that's 300 light years away. I just noticed actually the nebula between here and Sag A seems to have moved. So let's put that back where it was. Very much depends on the ship, really. We will have some older ships in the game eventually, and those won't have much in the way of touchscreens. I think the ultra modern luxury yacht in space with all the touchscreens is going to be very much the UN ship's aesthetic, whereas other manufacturers of vessels will have their own aesthetic. Actually, another thing I need to do with the generation of star systems is the procedural code tends to favour these gas dwarfs, and I guess really they're sub-Neptunes. Might be worth labelling them as such. So I need to have a look at the data there and see whether or not that's a realistic distribution or not. Yeah, Ava is really just the AI, which is the intermediary between you and the ship systems. Ava will do things like real-time translations. So once you've had the ship's computer analyze language examples from an alien race, Ava will be the one doing the translation for you. Yes, the game will have hunger and thirst, although not in an arduous sort of getting in the way of the game kind of way. It'll have it in essentially, if you eat and drink once per in-game day, that's sufficient. It's just to give players a reason to go into the lounge or the mess hall. It won't be a survival mechanic as such, although it will be for the NPC crew. So that's class 2 gas giant there. Yep, the bar will definitely be well stocked. Definitely too many of these gas dwarfs. There's the class 1. Let's go and have a look at you anyway. It's a nice one for a class 1. Ship has its own gravitational field, so there are field coils around the base of the hull, which creates an all-encompassing field for the whole ship. So in Star Trek you have things like gravity plating on the decks, but with this it'll encompass the whole ship as one big gravitational field. Yeah, the problem with a remote rover is you'd have to have the ground environment loaded for it, because you'd have to have a camera down there. Something we could look into, but the shuttles will have a cargo hold at the back, which will have a ground vehicle in it, so you'll be able to drive around yourself on planetary surfaces. You won't need a rover. Looking to see whether or not there's any gas giants right up against their star. Find some hotter ones. Looking for those class 4s and class 5s. Class 2. Another class 2. Yeah, the ship's got lots and lots of bulkheads. So if I go down to B deck, so obviously this is a bulkhead here, and then as you come down to the unfinished B deck, C deck rather, you can see there's a bulkhead here stuck on. There will be one side. I can't remember where I put it now. Yeah, there's one here. Another one here. And another one there. And another one. And another one. And another one. So there are bulkheads all over the place. There's one there, one there, there's one here. Yeah, so the game is set in 2261, and the idea is that this is humanity's first ever deep space exploration test mission. The first expansion we do is going to cover the mission proper, but this ship is an experimental ship, and it's all about testing its capabilities and just seeing what's out there and testing the viability of human deep space exploration. Oh yeah, so there is. I shall have a look at that. So yes, we haven't met any aliens yet. But once we do meet them, you'll be able to use them as crew members. But that's a ways in the future. Yeah, the crew of the Magellan are very much space guinea pigs. Yeah, the shuttles will have just as much engineering as the main ship, although less of it and generally more simple. Okay, well I think other than a couple of cleanup jobs, I think this is ready for the next dev build. Let's just go and work out what's going on with this. So let's have a look at the collisions. Seeing anything weird? I think the issue is probably that the collision mesh has got this really thin edge to it. If I set that to that, it should fix the issue. Actually, I'm changing the wrong thing. It's not that I want to change. I want to change that. Set that to that. That's So with nanite, if you're using complex collision that's simple, it uses the nanite fallback mesh as its collision mesh. So this is the actual collisions. So you'll find that blocked doorway will now be fixed. So the other thing I had to fix was this mesh. Not that one. Yeah, no, it was the nanite fallback in that case. So our question here is, why is this sphere not resizing properly? Are we doing anything with it anywhere else? So we're resizing it there. And there. It's the only places we're changing the scale of it. So let's just drag that in here again. This thing's huge, so it needs dragging far, far, far away. So that sphere in the middle needs to be a hell of a lot bigger. Now it's working. Sure why it didn't work last time. Better. It cleans up all of the nasty artifacts from the volumetric effect. Thanks, Bricktown. Yeah, I've been doing this for about 6-7 years, and this project in particular for 3 years, well, over 3 years now. I started in January 2021 on this project. So yeah, I guess it's just something you get used to. And I guess when you're doing it all day, every day, certain things stick. I've only been a full-time game dev for about 5 years. Before that, I was an IT manager, and I got made redundant, and took that as an opportunity to do what I always wanted to do, which was be a game dev. Right. That is true. That is true. I do have a pretty phenomenal wife. Wondering whether I can decrease that effect ever so slightly. What I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to retain that really nice glare without losing the event horizon itself, because we don't want to lose the black, because we still need it. It's a black hole, we need the black. A bit better. I'll also see if I can just brighten up the outer edges as well. Okay, I think that'll do. It's the it's got a nice glare to it, and we've still got some event horizon there. It's not glitchy. It's a nice clean event horizons there. I'm happy with that. Okay, well it's nearly 11 PM and I've been on stream for about 2 3/4 hours. I was up at 7 AM this morning, so sleepiness is taking over, so I shall call it a night here. I am not, however, done. I shall now go ahead and do a dev build, and you can expect to see that sometime in the next half an hour or so. I'll go and make a cup of tea while it's building. So thanks again everyone for watching the stream. Thankfully we didn't do 3 hours of debugging like on the last stream, which was nice. And I shall see you all again on Sunday's stream, same time, 8 PM BST. Thanks for watching and I shall see you then.